All right, construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another amazing episode of Construction Champions Podcast, where it's 2024 and we're dominating the construction industry. I'm so excited for what's going to happen this year. I'm super excited for our guest today. Todd, it is fantastic to have you here with us.
Ron, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Awesome, man. Well, your resume says a lot about itself. We got connected. You are an amazing man in the construction industry. You're doing amazing things for the industry. And I'm excited to have you here today. But why don't you start with telling the construction champions out there a little bit about yourself? What excites you? What got you here to today?
Sure. So Todd Squires, I'm a 33-year seasoned veteran or professional in the construction industry. I'm on the opposite side of you. I'm on the supply side. I've been the go-to for residential building material for past 33 years. What got me here today? Like you, Ron, I'm trying to solve a problem in the industry. You're working on the communication side. I'm doing a little bit of the communication side, but the health of the industry is not always so healthy.
That is 100% true. And, it's why you got to have guys like you that spent 33 years, that have been around. I mean, I'm a very big component for all of our listeners out there, any new listeners. What you're going to hear me say a lot is I believe industry knowledge should be the standard for any problem that we're going to go solve. Is that it should be construction industry people stepping outside of their box to go solve problems that the industry needs solved, because damn it, outsiders don't understand the construction industry.
But we've got some time in that industry. We know.
Absolutely. So Todd, I'm going to jump right into it. And I'm going to ask the $1 million question. And that is, what makes a construction champion?
What makes a construction champion? In my view, Ron, it's somebody that takes care of themselves. Somebody that takes pride in their body, in their mind. Too often I see people in authority or in leadership positions lose touch with themselves, trying to make their success of their business, but they lose touch with themselves, and they quit taking care of themselves. I think a good leader is just that. They take care of themselves, they take care of their mind, and then it trickles down. It takes care of their people.
I love it. You're giving me some chills, because I mean, I've been down this road. I think a lot of us have. And why do you think that is? Why? I mean, I understand that there can be a lot of late nights out at the bars. We eat gas station food. Like, this is like the standard. I don't quite understand it. I've been down the road. I've been part of it. I've lived that narrative of like, that's just what you do, when I mean, it's really a bunch of BS. Like, that's not, we're in an industry where it requires a healthy body, a skillful mind, the ability to go out and get shit done every day. But we treat ourselves like we're doing absolutely nothing. And I think this is a subject that this is where champions start to be made in constructions, when we start to wrap our mind around that it's not just the work we do, but it's also our bodies and our ability to do that work.
How we present ourselves. The good part about some of the guys that are doing the construction, at least they're moving all day long. Guys like yourself and myself that are at a computer all day, or out on the job sites or walking around, we don't get the privilege of movement all day long that some of the guys that are on site do. But you're right, the construction guys, actual builders, or you're right, most of them are eating gas station food, or they're not prepping, they're not getting ready for the day. they're grabbing a sandwich or one of those little, the torpedo rolls off the gas station roller and hitting the road again. So it's just as easy to pack a bag of carrots and fruits and vegetables as it is to walk into the grocery store and grab a handful of potato chips or whatever. Just being prepared.
Yeah, why? I mean, why do you think that's like just the standard? Why? I mean, I don't. There's a very strong narrative around like gas stations and builders and contractors in the morning. Like it's literally like if that's your market demographic and you want to meet them, be at a gas station at 7 a.m. in the morning. Like it's packed, and everybody's doing the exact same thing, and it's loaded up on energy drinks and food that's not good for you. And uh
it's the water cooler of the gas station is the water cooler of the offices.
so I mean, how do we start to change that? How do we, as leaders in the industry, as owners of companies that want our guys to be the absolute best and to live better lives? Because I mean, let's be honest, like the healthier your guys are, the better they eat, the fitter they are, the better the job sites are going to be, the less workman comp issues you're going to have. Just like the quality of life goes through the roof for everybody involved if we can start changing this narrative.
Yeah, I think awareness is the first thing. It's got to start somewhere. You've been in it. We've both been in this industry long enough that we know that we see a problem, but when you're in the picture, you can't see the picture when you're in the picture.
Mm.
So it's going to take obviously some awareness and somebody bringing it to light that there is a different option. There's a better way to do things than the gas station food.
Well, that's what we're here to do today, is to bring light to this, bring it to the forefront. It's amazing that this is what we're talking about right now, because earlier this week, I was listening, Andy Elliott released a video. And if anybody doesn't know who Andy Elliott is, he's like the up and coming sales guru guy. Absolutely amazing guy. Peak physical condition, like that's one of his things, is he believes everybody should be in peak physical condition. People want to buy from people that are in shape and take care of themselves, because there's a discipline that comes with that people look at as being somebody I want to do business with. And fun fact, before I get into what the video is at his company, if you don't have a six-pack, he will fire you. Like that is the standard. Like that's the bar, is like, we're all going to have six packs because that is what we do here. And it's an amazing culture that he's built. I totally believe he's not for everybody, but he's for Ron Nussbaum, and I think he really fits the narrative. But what he said in a talk that he was giving is that all bodies, us as humans, were Ferraris. We're not Ford Tauruses. But what we do is like, what kind of fuel do people put in Ferraris? Premium fuel. And then you put whatever crap in a Ford Taurus to get it down the road. But the problem is we're taking our bodies, who we are, the Ferraris that we are, and we're trying to put the same fuel that you put in a Ford Taurus, and then expect that Ferrari to run the same. And I was like, that right there makes so much sense, and everybody should hear that. And that's what you do. That's what you're talking about. Is like,
100%.
But for the construction industry, which is amazing, because that's where, I mean, we need it. I think you had mentioned like guys out on the job site moving around. I remember I used to use that as an excuse to not go work out, to not go to the gym. Oh, I've been on a job site all day. I have been moving. I have but you're not working your muscles in a way that they need to be trained. So there's still training that needs to happen, no matter what level you're on out there.
Yep, I agree that, and we probably see more of those guys in the gym than we do the office guys. I think you're 100% right on that, Ron, that they see the guys that are, a lot of them, the guys that are actually on the job site they're moving around, but I guess the the focused ones, the ones that treat their bodies like a Ferrari rather than a Pinto, they're still taking care of it. I mean, they're going into the gym, they're doing the other stuff, they're doing the extra work.
Yeah, I mean, the best foremen, the best supervisors that I've ever had were guys that were either going to the gym before or after work. Like they would get up, they just but it's that sense of discipline that starts to happen and that understanding. And then they would pack their lunch. And then you know what would happen is their guys would start doing the same.
The tribe will follow.
Yeah. So then those guys are all bringing their lunch. They're not going to the gas station in the morning. These are the guys that are fueling the truck up on the way back to the shop because they know what's going to happen if they stop for fuel in the morning is they're going to be sucked into that trap.
Yep.
And
They prepare for failure, so they eliminate the failure or eliminate that possibility of failure.
Absolutely. And that's what I mean, that's some of the strongest stuff you can do in an environment where a lot of this stuff's just acceptable or just how it is you just start eliminating it. So it's not even part of the daily routine. You change the daily routine to set yourself up for success.
For sure. Yep. It's yeah, you nailed it. It's end the conversation now. It's
I don't know. I don't
really, man. It's you nailed it. If you set yourself up for, I mean, I said set yourself up for failure, but prepare for failure, but set yourself up for success. It's like you said, going to the gas station the night before. It's no different than packing your lunch the night before. You know, get all that stuff out of the way so your next day it's done, it's ready. You're good to go. You know, have your protein shakes, or it's just as easy. Like I said, it's easy to grab a water as it is to grab a energy drink. And
absolutely. So I mean, how when you go in and you help these guys, like what does that look like? What is that? I guess so. I like to ask some hard questions for the
right.
industry, like industry hard questions. Like, what is the mindset shift that has to happen for guys to embrace this at the highest levels of leadership? Like there is a mindset shift that has to happen. So for the listeners out there, like what do they have to shift their mindset around for this to start to become part of their business?
Well, they need to take a look in the mirror. They need to look at themselves first. That's how I got here. Yeah, I was not healthy. I was not yeah, just that I wasn't healthy. So take a look in the mirror first. Like, man, if I can fix myself first, like I said earlier, the tribe will follow. But I guess the mindset behind that is they need and sometimes it takes a health scare, you know, a diabetes scare or a doctor scare or something else that's going to change that mind or have a shift in that mind to make a change.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so much power in what you're talking. I'm a big look in the mirror kind of guy. But like you said, like if you are willing to make the change, people will see that. I think what we underestimate as leaders at any level, whether you're just a lead out on the ground or you're running the company, what we underestimate is the power of what happens when we start to make positive change and then we consistently do it. People are watching.
Yep, consistent. I've got a note here to myself. Great leaders attract their tribe. Poor leaders will pay for their tribe. It's so I advocate of, you know, clean health, clean eating, clean health, and you nailed it, man. The people will follow it. If they see the president or leader of the company or the guy on the job site eating healthy, there's a trickle down, there's a ripple effect. It starts to take place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think we can't be if that's what you're looking to have happen, is that ripple effect, like let it naturally happen. Don't like force it and don't stop. because that's typically the moment when you're about ready to start getting traction with guys, is when you give up. When you say, oh, this isn't working, guy, it's not changing. They're watching. They want to know what you do. What long, like, are you committed to this? Some of the best changes that have ever happened that I've ever been a part of were just stuff that we just started doing and let organically spread, because everybody's watching. They want to know, is this, we're in January here. Is this just something we're kicking? Like, is this his New Year resolution? And in February, we're going, we'll be having pizza parties again at the shop. Like, what? Like, let it organically happen. Let people watch and have the discipline to follow through on this, because that's the only way it's ever going to really start to change at your company, is if you let that organically happen. They watch you, they see that you're not eating the crap anymore. You're not doing the stuff that you used to do. And when you bring stuff to the shop, you bring options that are going to fuel your guys instead of pump them up on sugar and carbs to where they get deflated immediately. They start to see these changes in you, then that ripple effect will happen. But don't give up, don't stop, and then don't be the preacher of this. Like,
And
just
not do it.
be the example.
Yeah, be the example, be the magnet, be the attractor. Um, yeah, yeah, you're nailing it. Businesses don't have problems. It's the people have problems, and then the people have that problem manifest within the business. That person's problem manifests within the business.
Mhm.
So if you got a healthy magnet in there, it's going to attract other. It's going to spread. It will eventually spread to. And if the ones that it doesn't spread to, they're going to do their own thing anyway, and rather than what your guy Andy said, he's going to fire them. They're probably going to quit.
Yeah, I mean, it weeds, and that stuff always weeds itself out. Like, I think you're always in like that bottom 10-20%. It's always working themselves somewhere else. If you're building a company appropriately, like if you're building the appropriate culture, if you're doing the stuff you want to have happen, that bottom percent, they're going to go somewhere else naturally, because they're going to be intimidated. They're going to be afraid, and they're not going to fit in. Like, that's going to be the problem, is like they're not going to feel like they fit in, or like this is a place for them. And if you're building the right culture, that starts to take care of itself.
Yep. I read a rule one time, the 10-80-10, the 10% is the top, or the top performers. The 80% is the middle performers, and the bottom 10% are the ones that really don't care. They're the ones that they're going to fall off anyway. You're always going to have that bottom 10% that's just going to cycle through.
Yeah. And we can't, I think all too often is we do too much stuff focused on keeping that 10% around, instead of figuring out how do we take the 80% and turn them into the top 10%, and just let that bottom 10% do whatever they're going to, like, they're going to leave. The
Yep.
worst thing you can do is invest all this stuff and change your company culture to try to attract that bottom 10%. We all know what happens when you start to do that.
Shit goes south.
Yeah, no, and that becomes a real problem. So you might as well do the stuff that builds your company to be a place where the top 10% thrive, because that 80% is constantly becoming that. And you're continuously growing those people throughout your company. So
Yep.
I love it. I love your mission. I love what you're doing, because I think like this is a spot in the construction industry that is way undervalued. Like the health and wellness, uh Like it matters a lot more than what people think it does, because when
Yep.
you feel better, when you're working out, when you're putting the right fuel in your body, it completely changes everything, and it turns people into high performers, and they start to love life. They have a better at home life, which always is better for everything we do.
Yep. It goes, it goes from work to play or work to home and home to work. So for sure.
Awesome, man. I love it. So for all the construction champions out there, if they wanted to talk to you, follow you, connect with you, where's the best places for them to do that?
Yeah. Best places on the Instagram. It's Todd_Squires. And coming soon, we're getting ready to, we're in the process of building a website. It's going to be, Clear Path Leaders. It's in the works.
Awesome, man. Well, I love it. I love everything you're doing. Thank you for taking the time to be on Construction Champions today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome, man. Well, Construction Champions, there's another episode in the books. I think this is a fantastic way to kick off the new year here, being that it's the second week of January. You guys are into your New Year's resolutions. Most people are talking about they want to be healthier. Right here is a great episode to go ahead and look at it and say, I need to have the discipline and the consistency to do this. Not just for me, but for my business, for my family, for everybody around me. I'm a firm believer that I'm a better Ron when I'm working out, when I'm eating right, when I'm doing all of that stuff. I'm a better Ron for everybody around me, not just myself. That's what we have to be. That's what construction champions are, is we're better people for everybody around us, because we're going out and becoming the absolute best version of ourselves every day. And we just let that ripple effect ripple on down through it, through everybody, through our companies, through our families. And we start to create an environment where everybody's a champion around us. Todd used my favorite saying, all the construction champions out there already know, is he talked about looking in the mirror, because it's one of the most powerful things you can do, because all the change starts with you, in your ability to go look at yourself and say, no more. We're going to change, and the change starts right here. So go do that. If you're on your New Year's resolution, or you've already kicked it to the bucket, or you just decided this isn't even for me, go look in the mirror and think about what it would be like if you started feeding your Ferrari the right fuel. And then your people around you, your friends, your family, your employees, started feeding their Ferraris the right fuel. What would that do for your entire life? So, construction champions, make sure you go out, check out our brand new website. Go check out our sponsors. Go check out the Facebook group, Construction Champions Mastermind group. It's our free group where we're connecting listeners, guests, everybody. We're becoming champions together. And until next time, be the champion you were meant to be. Champions, I am super excited to talk to you about our partner, Contractor Staffing Source. Paul and his team have over 40 years, or Paul himself has over 40 years of experience in construction, and he knows what it takes to not only grow and scale a company, but also hire the absolute best for your company. And with this partnership, we have put together an amazing bundle of free resources, from his free $1 Million Hire course to a free DIS assessment, to a free cognitive ability assessment. All you have to do is go click the links at Construction Champions Podcast or in the show notes for this to access all these free resources. This is the kind of partnerships that Construction Champions Podcast will be bringing. Ones that add value, just like all of our other ones. This one adds massive value to your company and where you're headed in the future, so you can continue to grow and become the champion you were meant to be.